2 seconds earlier, disaster would have been averted. Dear guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, let us dive into an air crash and what we can learn from this. This accident happened on February 14, Valentine's Day 1990, and it involved a scheduled domestic passenger flight from Bombay, Mumbai as now they call it, to Bangalore. The aircraft was an Airbus A320. So the aircraft took off from Bombay Airport at 11:58 in the morning local time. The flight itself has been delayed for 1 hour. Before this flight, the aircraft was flying two sectors, which was Bombay to Goa and Goa back to Bombay. At the back, there were 139 passengers, including two infants. 7 crew members were operating the flight that day. The captain, who was a 46-year-old man at the time, had about 9,307 hours and 68 hours on the Airbus A320. He was undergoing training to be a captain and was seated on the left. Let's call him Captain L. The Czech captain was seated on the right and had 10,340 hours, of which 255 hours were on the Airbus A320. Let's call him Captain R. So what happened was this: as the aircraft was approaching Bangalore Airport, it was found that the aircraft was on open descent. The engines are at idle, and a few passengers realized that the engines seemed to have turned silent and the plane appears to be sinking gradually. When the pilot saw the runway in Bangalore Airport, they disconnected the autopilot and made contact with Bangalore Airport. At about 1:40 p.m. local time, the plane altitude was just under 5,000 feet and its approach path was 600 feet higher than the normal glide path. The captain seated on the left, Captain L, notices this and called go around. If he go around, he would have to climb to 6,000 feet, fly in a circle, and come in for another approach. The Czech captain, Captain R, then said, "Do you want to go around or do you want vertical speed?" Captain L then chose the vertical speed option. Now, because the aircraft is on a higher glide path, Captain L asked for a higher rate of descent of 1,000 feet per minute instead of the normal 700 feet per minute rate of descent. So naturally, the speed increased to 148 knots, in which they were supposed to be at 130 knots. This action of increasing the rate of descent, however, managed to help the aircraft regain its normal flight path. Captain R then checked the landing checklist and then asked the cabin crew to be seated for landing. Now that the aircraft has regained its normal flight path, at 1:42 p.m. Captain R said that he had selected 700 feet per minute rate of descent, but instead of selecting the vertical speed knob, he accidentally chose the altitude knob. So instead of putting the aircraft on a 700 feet per minute rate of descent, he was ordering the aircraft to be at an altitude of 700 feet. The vertical speed knob and altitude knob are located next to each other. So because of this selection, the aircraft went back into open descent mode, causing the thrust to be at idle. This made the aircraft lose its speed and the aircraft started to descend more quickly. Radio altimeter sounded 400 feet. This alerted Captain R and he said, "You are descending on idle open descent, eh? All the time." The altimeter now shows 300 feet. Captain R then asked, "Do you want flight directors off now?" Captain L then confirmed that his flight directors had been put off, but Captain R flight directors was still on. If both flight directors was off, the aircraft would have been in speed mode and will increase engine power automatically, sensing that the speed was reducing. As the plane continued descending rapidly, when the plane was only 135 feet from the ground, Captain L said, "Hey, we are going down." Captain R could only respond, "Oh." Captain L ordered for toga thrust, but then it was too late. The aircraft did lift from the ground but failed to clear a 12 feet embankment and crashed. Investigators said that if the action of using toga thrust had been done 2 seconds earlier, disaster would have been averted. The landing gear touched the ground of a golf club about 800 meters from the airport. Most people, including some crew members, thought the aircraft had touched down on the runway, similar to a normal landing. The aircraft, however, then bounced and shortly later impacted the ground for a second time. It then hit a 12 feet embankment. Both the engines and landing gear detached from the aircraft and the aircraft flew over a road and crashed into a grassy rocky area near the airport. After the crash, a fire started and several people managed to get out of the plane through an opening. Because of the impact, some were severely injured and unable to move. Because of this, they could not escape the fire. No firefighting services reached the crash site as there was no transmitter communication facility between the tower and firefighting vehicles. A portable radio transmitter was available for communication between the tower and aerodrome fire station, but was not serviceable on that day. A total of 92 people, 88 passengers and 4 crew died in the crash, including Captain L and Captain R. Only 54 survived, all with injuries. The official investigation then determined the cause of the crash was due to pilot error.